It's like been 5 weeks to get 3 courses on.
Cutting 9 today.
And 9 will be the last one?
Yep.
Not 10.
No, 10 is where the post is.
Okay.
Most obvious thing is it strengthens the boat. This boat was going to literally go down.
So Rich has been up here, he's been painting a little bit.
The twist in there was just, it was crazy.
Yeah, we got plenty.
It's like been 5 weeks to get 3 courses on. There's John. 8 on either side now. Taking forever. But it looks pretty sweet. Well, the gap's getting smaller.
Oh yeah. 49 is one. We got our first bolts in.
Okay, so before you weren't able to bolt them together because you just couldn't get at them?
Right, planks and stuff in the way.
I gotcha.
But now as the planks come off, we can catch up on that.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same on the other side in terms of the number. I think the port side there was 1 or 2 more. Yeah, cutting 9 today.
And 9 will be the last one?
Yep.
Not 10.
No, 10 is where the post is.
Okay, so 9, and then what's the goal after that? Go back up top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have a little bit to do with the scaffolding down. We're going to do a lot of plugging and some of the rough sanding, you know, just to get caught up on that. Because you can only go like this for about a half hour to an hour. It's like, yes. I'm not 26 anymore, so 56 even.
You're not 56 anymore.
I'm not 66 anymore. Shut up,
You're
stop.
not 76 yet.
No. Yeah, well, like, okay, see this bulkhead here?
Yeah.
It was delaminating.
This one is delaminating or was?
Why? It's no longer.
Okay.
This bulkhead is delaminating. This bulkhead is really bad. So we were able to get a bunch of glue up in several inches and clamp it with wax paper.
Okay.
Good now. And then that little bulkhead, that one.
All right, so when 9 goes on, 10's coming off. So that's the one we're looking at right there.
Yep.
The lone wolf right there. And when you take 10 off, you're going to take off like this engine exhaust right there.
Right, now we're going to get to that in a second. Now, you see this notation here, Clint? Mm-hmm. For the drain, we got to transfer that to the plank above. Yeah.
Okay.
Before we take out any planks, let's double check any notations that we can transfer them. And so forth. This plank, by the way, will be the first one that has a caulking bevel in it.
In the plank?
In this coming down. We're below water now.
Yeah, it was below the water. Way below the water.
We'll start at 44 roughly and go way up to 15. It'll be about a 20-something foot long caulking bevel. It won't have it. Yes, it will. That's what I'm saying. It goes against this plank. So it'll be the first one. Well, the glue does many things. The most obvious thing is it strengthens the boat to start with. But it also gets rid of the caulking bevels, which later on, a year from now, 2 years from now, boat sitting out here, the seams dry out and they start cracking. You got a maintenance thing on your paint job. So without cracking seams, you paint it every 8 to 10 years. Like Cheerios had 2 paint jobs since '94.
Nice.
And that was just because it was faded, scuffed up. So the paint job becomes also, not only are there fewer paint jobs, but the paint job is easy. You just buzz bomb it, wipe it off, tape it, and shoot it. You have cracking seams, you got to get in there and reef them out, refill them, putty them, sand them. A lot of.
But we're going to still have to do that below the water line.
No, because below the water line it's swell tight.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like you're in Southern California, you know. That's why you don't have a black hull here. It would explode in this sun when you get these Santa Ana winds. I mean, there's some days you can't.
Here, it doesn't have to ever come out of the water.
What's that?
It doesn't have to come out of the water every year.
Right.
Where on the East Coast we had to pull it every year, and so
Yeah.
Put it in the barn.
right, because
Well-
otherwise it would pop out of the water when the ice froze. Yeah.
Here, when it's 5 degrees in Maine, it'd be 105 in October, February, with that dry east wind with zero humidity, and the poor boat's sitting there like this, a nice cool bottom in the ocean, and the top is just baking. And that's why a lot of people turn their boats,
Right.
you know, like flipping pancakes.
Or
This side's done.
We're going to get some covers too.
Well, coverage is good. The ideal slip would be one that faces north-south.
Right.
Okay.
So it
There's
gets a
very
little
few
above.
of around
Yeah.
here because the coast goes this way. But anyway, so that's the whole idea. In other words, by gluing the top sides, you're doing some of your maintenance now. And in fact, in my experience, it cuts the labor. Because once it's glued, you clean up the glue in the inside, you're done. If you're caulking this, once you fit the plank, now you have to take it down and put the caulking bevels in, lay those out, plane them. When you put it up, you got to prime the seam, caulk it, soak the cotton, put the putty in, hope that doesn't shrink too much, you know, the whole 9 yards. This way you just leave the glue and just come in there and sand it all off. The backing block for the exhaust was, you can see it down here, was out over a quarter of an inch from the frames, and that's because when they fitted it, long after the frames and the planks had gotten a divorce, they were separated by a full quarter of an inch. The planks were away from the frames a quarter of an inch or more in a lot of places, and that's because of the deterioration of the rivet heads. This boat was going to literally go down. You'd have been a newspaper article. Local Ventura men rescued at sea. And I'm not trying to be a wise
Because you
guy.
think like this could have split.
Well, when you're out in a nice calm day, it doesn't matter what you're in, a rubber boat or a battleship. But when you're out on the Santa Barbara Channel during the months between September and May, it can come up like that. How many times have you been out commercial fishing? And you're glad to be home in a big boat. Because the waves out here are very fast. They're not only larger and steep, but they're very short in duration. And it just makes for it just twists the boat. And because this boat was soft, because the boat had hundreds of short planks and a lot of refasting that wasn't properly done, split frames as a result, and so forth, it was a good candidate for a newspaper article. And you can see in areas here, it was sanded so much that the plank is under 3/4 inch thick. So it was just decades of grinding and sanding and patching. So anyway, when we remove this, we'll have a good look at the backing block. It's made of plywood, which isn't the end of the world, provided it's good plywood and it's been sealed properly. It doesn't appear to be delaminated.
But we're still going to take it out and put a new one in, right?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
We'll put it back in the same place, just because that's where your plumbing goes. Now, whether or not we have to make a new backing block, we'll know in the next day or so.
Okay. So Rich has been up here, he's been painting a little bit. And you can see it's all looking well painted. You get those slats back on soon. So now it's all painted behind.
Absolutely. But you see so much of this. This is what I kept seeing. It's right there.
All beautiful, all here in the galley. All clean. Painted. Free of mold. Ready to receive the refrigerator and the new stove. And here is inside the sail locker. You can see the back side of the panels, the planks. All beautiful and clean and fresh and strong. And this is port side. Fresh paint. We'll see what Clinton is doing.
Marking plank lines.
Marking plank lines.
It's always a good thing to do before you take the plank off.
Okay.
We're gonna batten them anyways, but it gives us a reference.
Now, was that the actual? Is that where the old plank actually really was, or was that cut through it?
Well, what we did here is we had to batten. We had to batten every one of these seams down to wherever the caulking started below the water line, because they had splined it. So we set up a jig, a batten on there. So we cut right down the middle of their spline.
And it turned out to be pretty close to.
It was as close as we could get, which is pretty much, I mean.
When you take out the plank, you can actually see where the planks were.
Yeah.
And we're
But
pretty close.
It gets us in a really good zone. And then we put our batten on there if there's any of this. Obviously the batten was, because sometimes you'll put the plank on it. What I do is I'll mark these and, pencil, but we'll put lines on the backs of these.
Because you can see right
See
here.
that one right there? See that line right there? And that gives us a reference to when we're battening. If I'm marking my batten widths and I see something that's way off, it's like, oh, that's a rogue.
You can drop
Put
it
the batten
down.
on there and you can see springing up or down, whatever.
So here you can actually see where the spline was.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And like, this one's been cut already too, right here.
So,
Just
all
try
right.
to cut right down the middle of the spline.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we got to remove this plank. And since this plank's already off, we'll set up a ruband right here to wedge to.
Okay, you need a little, it's too far away.
Yeah, because we'll be doing course 9 right here. So usually you take off the next course and there's wedging material, but since this one's already off, we'll set up a ruband on there, which...
Well, we're down to the, after you take this one off, there'll only be 4 more left to take off. Crazy.
Yeah.
Of the old planks. Amazing.
Now we're out of course 8.
And we only got 3 courses in 5 weeks. So what was there was obviously some glitches along the way.
Numerous repairs.
Repairs to the frame?
Frames, bulkheads, bolting. The twist in there was just, it was crazy. It wasn't, we didn't want to split them, so we twisted them and did the hot rag trick, water, and
all right, so let's see some of the bulkheads. So you're saying some of the bulkheads needed to be like this one here?
All the bulkheads, like this one hasn't been done yet, but above it, anything that we come to that's like that. And this has a cleat on it already, so this one's not as bad. But if you come down here, this one's been glued already.
Okay, you guys glued that?
Yeah, you can see the epoxy on there. All the plywood bulkheads pretty much were delaminated. This one. So we'll wedge them open, then I'll get a real thin putty knife and get as much epoxy in all the laminates and
clamp that down.
A glue up job like that, you know, and we can just do as much as we can when each plank comes off.
And then, but farther down the bulkhead, in the center of it, does it seem to be okay? Like you're not feeling any laminate? Yeah, the plywood, like in the actual bulkhead of the inside the boat.
No. Just on the edge, this outer edge.
Just on the edge, yeah.
Because it was, you know, most of it was right up against the planking. Right. So as you can see right here, it's dubbed back.
Yeah.
So the surface of the...
It's not even flat.
The back side of the plank is gonna hit the frame. And see how it's been ground back at that angle, kind of?
So do you want to fill that gap, or it'll just be a gap?
No, we want. It's been epoxied, and it's going to rest on the frame.
Okay.
And not the plywood.
Not the plywood.
And any of the framing that was in the way, I had to grind back, and a lot of stuff, since the planks were pushed out, a lot of places you can see they weren't tight. And
look at that. So that you can see how the plank.
And look at this. I'll guarantee see that right there.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we'll just wedge as many as we can open, and glue as we go down, like.
But you can see how the plank is separated from the from the frame.
And that's not even a bad one right there, but
no, but all along here.
Yeah. Here's the frame. This, the
That's
frame's
there.
not even touching right there.
Not even touching.
Plus, stuff gets behind there, and then even if it did want to go back, it couldn't because there's all kinds of crud down there. We grind back any framing that's sticking out, like that was sticking out. I had to grind that little.
What is that little guy there?
A cleat.
Okay.
Right here at the water line, all these fasteners, the heads were just shot, and everything in outboard was just. We cut them off, and pounding them back in. I had to go in and grind a heck of a lot of them off and pound them out
because they just fell apart.
Yeah, because it was so corroded right here. You pound it in, it just bent the rivet, and you couldn't do it. So, and fixing all the split frames, and it was this coarse. It was just
That's right on the water line, huh?
Yeah.
38.
Frame 38.
A laminated frame that was delaminating. All right, well, we're looking better. I guess up underneath, you'll still work on this a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. Fill what we can fill.
How are we looking on wood supply?
We heard it bad.
We heard it bad.
Yeah, we got plenty. Oh, speaking of wood.
Because you still basically, you had 52 and you still got at least 20 left to go. You got about 20 courses left to go.
Well, we'll have 8 per side.
16, right.
Yeah.
So you have 16 out of 50 something, 55.
Some of this, remember the...
So you still need about a third, almost a third of...
Oh, we got plenty.
Yeah.
Remember the tree we bought?
Yeah.
Okay, that was all 18 feet, it was actually 1710. There's
Okay.
a couple of times we cursed that it wasn't 18. Okay, remember? So, and you also remember we got a second order of some 20-footers,
Okay.
which is what this one is.
But those were that wasn't a whole tree, that was just some
Just
planks.
a few planks. Because we knew we were gonna get down here somewhere. So this plank is 20 feet long. It's gonna come to here. And by doing so, you see these butts up here? This long plank will span all those, which will allow us to later move our butts around some more.
Okay.
And on the next plank back, this one's 16 feet.
Okay.
It comes out of a regular size, a 17-footer. Back to here. And then this plank that goes to the transom is just over 8 feet long,
Okay.
which sounds mighty short, but no matter how you look at that plank, it's almost dead flat.
Okay.
It doesn't have any twist or any stress in it, so it's perfectly fine. Planks in this
So that'll be
area.
the same on both sides?
Uh-huh.
A 30, a 20 something, and then the 8.
Well, a 20, a 16, and an 8.
20, 16, 8. Okay.
And of course, the boat's getting shorter as we go down now.
Yeah.
So we were able to use that long stock to advantage. So that when we get down to the shutter plank down here, it's only going to have one butt block right there
Nice.
because the boat's only 35 feet long or
Yeah.
something.
Okay, so the next time we come back in about three weeks, you should see number 9 on completely,
Oh yeah.
and you'll be moving the scaffolding up.
Yeah, because today's Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
We should have 9 on by mid next week, late next week. At that point, and tomorrow and Friday, Rich is going to come in and start making thousands of plugs. We'll get a jump on the interior for about a week. Some stuff I want to do before Dave comes in, and then he'll come in about a week after we get the scaffolding up.